Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Rusty McCranie, and welcome to Weather Express. It's your weather in 5 minutes. Start the clock. Friends, our powerful winter storm is beginning to take shape, and we are going to see significant impacts from that for the eastern two-thirds of the U.S. as we move through the weekend. As a matter of fact, in some spots, this storm is likely to be historic. More and more winter storm warnings are now in effect. Those are the areas in pink. The winter storm watches now extend to the East Coast. We even have some ice storm warnings to get into. We'll talk about the evolution of this storm, and that begins today. Now, at this point, we don't have any direct impacts in the U.S. so far, but that area of low pressure is just beginning to move onshore, and throughout the day Friday, we'll start to see those first impacts in the southern plains. Today, we've had some good snow squalls over the Great Lakes and portions of New England, really heavy snow from Buffalo towards Syracuse, warm enough Boston, New York City, with just a little bit of a smattering of a couple of light rain showers here and there, but nothing significant. It's been a cool, wet day over Atlanta. The high today just right around 50. Warmer with southerly winds in Florida. They were able to get to the mid-70s. Southern plains are beginning to cool down, but it's still dry at the hour, but the colder air is beginning to kind of develop just to the north, coming off of the Rockies, and there is our winter storm moisture beginning to develop off of the coast of California. I'll put the infrared satellite imagery into motion, and you can clearly see that good spin associated with that area of low pressure. So that's the moisture that'll be taking a very southerly track, interacting with the cold air coming off the plains in the Intermountain West, and that's going to be the two things that are going to cause the big problems here starting in the plains tomorrow. Looking at local storm reports for today, we did have some pretty significant wind again in the Great Lakes, the Dakotas, and portions of New England. If we look at the wind gusts out of these areas, we still have winds that are 40 and even 50 miles an hour. From time to time, even some blizzard conditions. And we are likely to see some wind chill values here in northern Minnesota get as cold as 50 degrees below zero again for Friday morning. All right, let's get into this storm. I'm going to bring up the GFS model, and we're going to talk about how this is going to evolve. I'm going to show you the models first. We'll look again at the watches, warnings, and advisories, and then take a look at specific potential sleet, freezing rain, and snow totals in your area. So looking at, again, the evolution of this storm system, as we go throughout our Friday, we're just going to start to see this moisture move into the plains. So it is going to be New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, likely to start to see the first mix of winter weather, and it could be significant as far as sleet and freezing rain. Enough ice to cause huge headaches. I-35, I-40. If you get into the northern sides of Oklahoma and Missouri, likely to hopefully be just all snow, but there are already ice storm warnings in effect for places like Memphis, Tennessee, that could get more than an inch of ice. Huge travel problems basically along I-40 and north. Nashville, Tennessee could actually get more than a foot of snow. The amount of moisture associated with this storm system, my friends, again, is so impactful and potentially historic for the amounts that we could see, whether that is in the form of sleet and freezing rain and snow in your area or all snow, which when it gets cold enough is likely to be above a foot in a lot of areas. So again, as we move through tomorrow, this begins to move into the Tennessee Valley as we get into Saturday and then Sunday towards the mid-Atlantic states and the East Coast. You get as far south as Atlanta, they could even start to see some mixture of sleet and freezing rain Sunday night. This should be all snow for New England and the Northeast as we get Sunday night into Monday, and that could be some very significant snow totals there for places like New York City and Boston late into the weekend and early on Monday. So back out to the big perspective. Let me go back into the advisories here, and let's take a look at what those are showing. So popping these up, just to give you a flavor, the winter storm warning for the Oklahoma City area calls for up to 6 inches of precipitation in the form of sleet, freezing rain, and snow. You get up to the St. Louis area, looking at the winter storm warning here. Now you're at 5 to 10 inches of snow for St. Louis. Yesterday, that was just 4 to 8 inches. So unfortunately, these snow totals have only come up on the models. There's the ice storm warning that I was talking about. Again, an ice storm accumulation of maybe an inch with snow accumulations of 1 to 3 in total. It's horrible news there for portions of Tennessee and the northern sides of Mississippi. Again, you have 2 to 8 inches of snow near the Nashville area or higher than that possible. Then the winter storm watches in these kind of teal colors all the way to New York City and Boston. And for those areas you're now talking about, no, it's not until Sunday or Monday, but potentially 6 to 12 inches of snow. That is going to be for the Boston area. For New York City itself, let's pop that on. It's the same situation or even higher, guys. 12 to 16 inches. So just because you live in the Northeast, don't be shocked that, you're not going to get this impact down the road. I want to show you guys, and I know I'm into overtime already, but that's okay. The boss will let me. I'm the boss. Let's take a look at the snow accumulations here. I'm going to show you guys what is called the 50th percentile. That is the amount expected. Okay, the models in some areas are much higher than this, but when we take a look at, and if you follow my cursor, right, I'm just going to kind of meander along these areas, the median snow totals. Northern Oklahoma could see 9 inches. There could be nearly a foot of snow through portions of central Missouri. We could have 9 to 12 inches of snow. Tennessee, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, portions of West Virginia. Western sides of Virginia could get more than a foot of snow. There's your foot of snow total towards Philadelphia, 10 inches in New York City, and at least a half foot in places like Boston. Back out to the big perspective, showing you again the snow totals. I'm going to switch it over to ice for the 3-day forecast, and this is the problem. Again, now you get into the potential for significant ice accumulations. Look, I know it's in millimeters, but 25 millimeters is 1 inch, right? So bear with me. You know what that means? That's right at an inch of ice, significant here. And then about a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area and into the southern sides of Arkansas. Significant impacts from this storm, my friends. Again, one more time, a look at the advisories. All winter storm warnings here, all the cold weather advisories north, wind chill values at or below 0, including up to 50 below in northern Minnesota, and then these winter storm watches that are going to turn into winter storm warnings deeper into the weekend. Friends, I'm going to keep you up to date every day. I'll have daily updates. Thank you for making Weather Express a part of your daily routine. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from. I'm happy to let you guys know what the forecast is in your area. Thanks for taking a quick second and liking and subscribing, and of course having the notifications on. You guys know the drill. Have a great rest of your day. If you do live in these areas, get prepared, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow with your latest 5-minute forecast.